welcome to the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with your host, Amanda Bird. Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast. So this week's episode, we are talking Track This and Unprocessed Emotions. Track This is, do we track our reading? Why do we track our reading? What apps do we use to track our reading? What other ways do we use to track our reading? I may even make kind of like an Instagram post to show the different ways that I track my reading. So we're going to get into that in a couple minutes here, or a couple seconds, probably a couple seconds. Just wanted to shout out to everyone who reached out post-surgery to make sure I was okay, still in healing / recovery. God, I feel like I've been in healing and recovery for fucking ever, you guys, for fucking ever, right? Like if it's not from, if it's not from a traumatic marriage and, an emotionally and mentally abusive marriage, it's from a physical fucking surgery. I have 16 stitches approximately total. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Very uncomfortable. We all know stitches get itchy. So, yeah, fuck all that. So, without further ado, let's get into Track This. Wait, hold on. No, my bad. I didn't finish thanking everybody who reached out to make sure I was okay. My divorce finalized, and then, I went away for a few days, and I went to a concert, in Nashville to see. Now here's this is some crazy shit, y'all. Like, it didn't hit me until after the divorce finalized. But in 2021, I went to see Ice Nine Kills. I cannot remember the other band, and Fame on Fire. And that night he proposed to me. And of course I said yes. And then come back almost a full 2 years later, because we were together 2.5. We would have been married 2 years this year. Fast forward almost a full 2 years, and I'm going to see Fame on Fire headlining, and not with him, because, well, happy fucking divorce to me, right? So yeah, it's quite, I guess, symbolic. Fame on Fire's music has definitely gotten me through a lot of the trauma with him specifically. Surprise. And I may or may not have a little bit of an obsession with Brian's voice. So there's that. I absolutely love his voice, and I just think the whole band is incredibly talented, and I hope to actually get to hang out with them one day. Just because they're so chill, and they're so on this planet. And they're an awesome group of guys. Same thing with Kingdom Collapse and Sequoia. They were all, awesome groups of people. And if it wasn't for actually me telling the drummer from Sequoia, who looks like a coworker of mine, which is the weirdest fucking thing ever. Then I still can't stop saying that, and it's killing me. I can't stop laughing now. Then I never would have really put 2 and 2 together. When I originally got the tickets in the VIP, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a great, divorce celebration. And no, it was a little bit more than that. And I'm still trying to figure out how to actually process that. So I might actually just kind of put that specific, full circle, I guess, on kind of like a back burner. So let's get into Track This, shall we? This is a friend suggestion, because I'm reaching out to some of my people who always have a book in their hand and or ear, to see, the different kinds of topics they want to hear discussed. So this is first and foremost a book podcast. It's not just about my books. It's about books. I am in a unique position, as one of my author friends put it, to kind of utilize this type of platform to, my benefit as well as the benefit of readers. So to reach out to those, those I know who are constantly reading, for suggestions on things that they want to hear, that's kind of like the natural progression of things, right? So if you are an avid reader, voracious reader, reader of any level, consumer of fiction, be it ebook, print, or audiobook, and you have a suggestion, you have something you want me to talk about, like sometimes on the Tuesday night show that I do, people are like, can you please start talking about Star Wars again? Because it's really funny to listen to you go off about Star Wars, right? So if there's something you want to hear me kind of lose my shit about a little bit, hit me up via email, amanda.bird.books@gmail.com or amanda@amandabird.net. Either one of those two email addresses, you want to drop some suggestions in for things that you want to hear, please, by all means, do. I do have plans for the shenanigans portion of the podcast at some point in the future, where I'm going to start bringing in different people for, the shenanigans. They may be book related shenanigans. They may just be fuck around and find out shenanigans. Haven't gotten that far yet. Got a lot going on. I start job 3 this week. And by job 3, I mean, I've got day job, I've got books, and then I've got job 3 because the bills don't stop. I got into some trouble with this particular marriage financially. So I've got a little bit of a hole I've got to get out of. And there's that. Would I like to make job 3 my day job? Probably yes. But I won't really know more about that for about another month or so. I need to actually do it and make sure things are going the way they need to and that the projects keep coming in. Because if the projects are not going to keep coming in, then what's the point of giving up solid job versus not solid job? Because then that's a lot more stress, right? Okay, so on to Track This. Track This is about tracking your reading. Like I said, I might pop up an Instagram post, which we'll also post onto Facebook, with the different ways that I use to track my reading. Now, I use 2 apps on my phone, as well as I have a physical book tracker. I color in the different books, and then it's funny because I'll color the book tracker as I get more and more of the book completed, and then I'll go with the star rating, and that's about it. If I could draw, I probably would draw the book cover. If I really had the patience and the tolerance to do it, I might even just print out a tiny little copy of the book cover and just kind of like paste that into, the space for the book in my book tracker. But I'm fucking lazy. This should be a video podcast today because I was, kind of looking forward to it. But then, part of today's episode, actually, unprocessed emotions. I did something today to start processing those emotions, to at least encourage them to come out. So it's not just laziness for me today of why I'm not on camera. So yeah. There's a lot of different apps out there to track your reading, right? Storygraph, I think, is one of the newest ones, and they actually create like a nifty graph of the books that you've read. I have not used it. Just like Litzy, I hear good things about Litzy. I have not used it. The ones I personally have experience with, Library Thing. I stopped using Library Thing because it's super effing clunky. And when I say super effing clunky, it's fucking clunky. At least it used to be, and that's why I stopped using it. I also used it as a way to give out ARC copies and get, reviews. And Library Thing reviewers are a lot like NetGalley reviewers in the aspect that they think they're professional fucking reviewers, and, well, you're not at all. Not even close. I get that you have to start somewhere, but y'all are fucking assholes. Just like the cesspool that Goodreads is. I don't do Goodreads giveaways because they're just not worth the $150 that Amazon charges. That's right. You heard me correctly. Amazon owns Goodreads. If you've started seeing on book pages, specifically in the web browser, because it doesn't really, I don't think it shows up in the app. You will see, so many ratings and reviews on Amazon, and then either just below that or just next to that, it will say so many ratings and reviews, overall review on Goodreads. There's also a fun new what the fuck that I just found with Amazon and Goodreads that says how many people have marked this book as want to read. Now, I don't know how many other authors have noticed this on their book pages because I haven't asked yet, but that's coming up probably later this evening before I finally wash my fucking hair after surgery. Look, y'all, 16 stitches and being told don't do this, and this, and you accidentally do one of those things, you find out real fucking quick why not to do those things. So yeah, that's no thank you. And washing my hair isn't one of those things I'm not supposed to do, but I'm just lazy. I wash my hair like 2 or 3 days a week because I don't fucking go anywhere. I work from home, and now I really have a reason to work in my pajamas because I'm limited on what I can wear. So back to fucking Goodreads. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today, aren't I? So back to Goodreads. Goodreads is cool because, let's just call it the OG platform, right? It's kind of like the OG reading tracker, TBR tracker, book discovery platform, if you will. Now, there's plenty more book discovery platforms out there now. Bookie Call is one a friend of mine is using, and since I distribute through Ingram Spark, there is an availability for me as an indie to do that. So I might actually look into that in a few months, probably next year. I got too much going on the end of this year. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how the fuck I'm going to release 2 novels this year. Because it's, what month is it? September? Yeah. So I may not be able to release 2 novels this year. I'm fucking mad at myself because I did promise my readers, look, I'm going to make good on these promises. And then life really, what's the name of that bat from The Walking Dead? What is it? Lucy or something? Yeah, that bitch whacked me and beat the ever-loving shit out of me since March, April of this year. So I'm just kind of doing what I need to do to get back to being me, and also some semblance of productive and maintain some kind of sleep schedule. So, yeah, my readers are going to be a little upset with me because they're really looking forward to Amelia Earhart. And I just don't have the time off of work. Otherwise I would. I mean, if I could take a solid month off of work and not get fired for it, absolutely. I mean, technically I could if I took a leave of absence, but I ain't going to get paid for that. So that's a bit of a problem. Snapple watermelon lemonade. Good shit. So the OG Goodreads, right? I use Goodreads. I set myself the challenge every year. This year, as a matter of fact, I am actually going to pull this up because I just logged another book because I use it for ebooks, audiobooks, print books. I'm currently at 40 out of 35 books. Now, the reason I didn't up my goal from 35 to 40 or 45 is because I knew at some point I was going to have to put everyone else's books down and focus on mine. I didn't know where that was going to be. And I am that person who, if I don't hit my Goodreads challenge for the year, I get really, really upset because I'm like, there's no fucking reason I shouldn't be able to read 20, 30, 35 books in a year, especially now that I'm listening to audiobooks and I'm consuming at least one audiobook a week, maybe 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, depending. Right. So I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm just going to leave it at 35. And I actually ran it by my friend who suggested this specific topic. I said, hey, what do you think? Should I up it? And she's like, well, no, because you have your own books you have to write. She's like, I already know that you're a lot like me. And if you don't hit that goal, you're going to be mad as shit. And I was like, I've been mad almost every year. So yeah, I got that. I get that. So I'm just kind of leaving it there and then tracking, and then I'll kind of do that. I'll use those stats to reset for 2024 Goodreads challenge. I like Goodreads because, I love hate Goodreads because here's how Goodreads works. And a book is added to Amazon and it is automatically ported over to or pulled into Goodreads system within, we'll say, 5 days. And the only reason I say we'll say 5 days is because I've personally experienced hiccups with this. So now I make it a point to upload my own books onto Goodreads before it has a chance to pull over from Amazon, because there's too many errors. There's too many things that can go wrong. I've had my books being attributed to the wrong author. I still have to write to the Goodreads librarians every time I release a book in the 13 Reasons for Murder series to put it in the fucking series, because for whatever reason, as the author, as the IP creator, I do not have the fucking ability to mark my own books in what series they are in. It's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. No, I have to write to some volunteer, hey, can you mark this properly for me? Like, it's just so fucking stupid. Amazon, fix it. And also, over the past 2 years of my life, if I could have said Amazon, fix it anymore, and I know I'm not going to stop saying Amazon, fix it, because fucking Amazon. Another app I use to track my reading is called Beanstack. I found out about Beanstack through my local library because I am on their email newsletter list. And at least once a year, my local library does a reading challenge. They do give things away at the end, like they'll do drawings for different things. I don't do it for that. I do it for the challenge, plus I like collecting the digital badges. So Beanstack is cool in that aspect. It's Beanstack, like beanstalk, Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's Beanstack. So like Bookstack, Beanstack. It's super fun. I would definitely say, like, if you're the kind of person who likes to collect, cute little digital badges, definitely get that app and look up your local library, because as long as you hold a library card, you're usually eligible to, at least with my library, all I have to have is a library card, which I have it. I can participate in those challenges. Now, whether I win anything or not, I don't really care, because like I said, it's really about those cute little digital badges. I'm a goof like that. Just like with my Audible subscription, I don't know, there's a couple of them I don't have. And according to when I tap on it to see what requirements have to be met, I should have these friggin' badges. And fix it, Amazon. Wow. Twice in less than 5 minutes. I'm definitely in a weird spot today. Apologies if for whatever reason I'm just not making sense. I think I am, but my brain is like, no, bitch, you're not. So yeah, that's that. Also, my throat is scratchier than usual because anesthesia, and they put some kind of breathing apparatus in my mouth, not the one that goes all the way down your throat. Thank Cthulhu for that. But yeah, I'm finally getting back to a place where my throat feels somewhat normal. So I'll take that. And I know. My voice has been fucking jacked like all year. I know. I'm on the phone fucking 8 hours a day, and I cannot stand it. Just kind of like another reason to leave the current position that I'm in. I don't like it. I just don't like being on the phone all the time. So Beanstack is a fun one. Goodreads. And Goodreads is cool because, you've got your friends that you're friends with on Goodreads, and you can see where they're at in their Goodreads challenges, and get some cool book recommendations and stuff like that. So I used to get really competitive with my friends, with the Goodreads challenge. And it's funny because my friend who was talking about the trackers, I don't think she's actually got her Goodreads challenge up, and I'm kind of sad about that. But I suppose I won't give her too much shit. But yeah, I'm a big fan of tracking your reading. Pros for this would be, especially with Goodreads, pros for this would be, there's like a nifty little graphic that Goodreads creates of all of your books you've read. Goodreads, as long as all you have to really do is mark off that you finished the book or mark it as read in that year time span. It'll automatically add that to your Goodreads challenge for the year. And I think that's like a good way where, like, look, if you've looked at Book Talk or Bookstagram, There's one girl I follow. She's read like 300 books this year so far. She's incredible. I'm like, damn, lady, I wish I could read that much. I probably used to read that much. I just don't now because I don't, for one reason or another, whether it's lack of attention span, lack of discipline. I don't have reading that as much as I love it. That's not that high on my priority list so much. And some people are just like, hell yeah, I'm going to read every chance I get. Now, I like to say that. I really like to believe that about myself, but that's an outright lie. I do like to read as much as I can or every chance that I get. Now, do I actually do it? No, because my brain will go off in 500 more directions. And like yesterday, I absolutely I made myself take a pain pill. I hate taking pain pills. Fucking hate them. I do not like the way I feel. But I took a pain pill because I knew it was the only way I was going to lay on the couch and do fucking nothing all day, because I was already feeling like shit that I needed to record this podcast episode. I was already feeling like shit that I needed to do this, and this, and fuck me, I still have how many thousand words I have to write for this book. And I haven't done any of it. Right. So I'm just like feeling like I have to fucking do everything. I'm one of those people. And it's only gotten really bad in the past, like 6-8 months. Just because I'm not used to being sidelined by things, whether it's especially emotions. I'm not used to being sidelined by emotions. I was never, ever, ever the kind of person who would allow her emotions to sideline her. And then I hit burnout a couple of years ago, and now I'm in this trauma recovery situation, and it's mind-blowing. It's fucking mind-blowing. And at the same time, I'm like trying to be kind to myself and not blame myself and not talk trash to myself. And it's a really weird thing. I'm going to call it a limbo. It's a really weird limbo to be in. So yeah, it's just another reason I track the books that I'm reading. Right. Now, granted, I do have at least my physical TBR is physically separated because it's a physical TBR. It's print books. It is physically separated, and I do not move it to a shelf with the rest of my books until I've finished reading it. But with my digital books, it's a little bit different, right? Now on Audible, I can mark them as finished, and Kindle, I can mark them as finished. I do actually want to add the Kobo app to my Kindle because I would rather start getting books from authors on Kobo instead of Amazon. Just because, well, fuck Amazon. Yes, I understand if it wasn't for Amazon, indies really wouldn't, our way of publishing would be so much different now. It was Amazon who initially gave it to us. But Amazon's mentality is we giveth, we can taketh away. And they will not hesitate to taketh away. They will not, for no fucking reason. And then, as I have seen occur with at least one author over the past week or two, they actually changed the reason for disabling her account, her publishing account. So I thought that was really fucking strange. But also Amazon, and I promise you, their KDP reps for authors, they do not look at the notes. You can talk to 5 different people in the same day. They're starting from person 2 through person 5. They're not going to look at the notes in the system to see what everyone else has already done or what you have already said to those other people. It's just, it's the worst case of the left hand not knowing what the right's doing and the right hand not knowing what the left's doing that I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. And I don't know how KDP has gotten this far. I don't. I cannot figure it out to save my life. If it's not a canned bullshit response and you have to email back 7 fucking times to get a human, let me stop. So Goodreads and Beanstack are the 2 digital apps I use. And I really like Goodreads. Like if you follow me on TikTok, I post, I guess, kind of provocatively where I'm like, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And then boom, there's my Goodreads challenge for the year. And then at the end of the year, I kind of do like a wrap up. I think I might actually start doing maybe a monthly thing, but I really need to figure out a lot of things. For me, that's going to take a lot of planning on my part, and then sticking to that planning, right? So like the 30th or the 31st, or February's case, 20th, 29th of every month, I would have to actually start paying attention to, okay, where am I at? What are my read books? And then I fall into that trap of, oh shit, what if I'm done reading this book by the end of the month? Before it hits midnight, because yes, I do that. I am that, and I don't know why. My brain is just constantly on overdrive. I don't know if it's the overwhelm and the stress, the trauma. Am I ADHD? I don't know. I do know I don't want to be on any more medication. So there's that. Especially not right now. 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and some vitamins and minerals. I'm fucking great. Thanks. So yeah, those are the two that I use. You can do a Google search. That's what I did too. And then I realized how many book tracking apps were out there. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot. When really I was just looking for the name of Storygraph, because that's the newest player in the game. And I had looked at Storygraph before, and I thought it was really, really cool. But there's a lot of limitations with Storygraphs. You know what? As a matter of fact, let me pull this up here. If I can figure out how to spell, that would be even better. Oh, look, Storygraph versus Goodreads. Someone has already done this. Okay, I don't really see this specifically as like a bad thing. So the number one thing that shows up on Google is the Storygraph has built-in options to mark books as did not finish and owned, while on Goodreads you have to make your own shelves to do so. So it's a built-in option. You can mark it as DNF, whereas with Goodreads you actually have to create your own DNF shelf. Not the end of the world, I don't think, but that's me. And I'm coming from the lazy girl. I still don't think that's a problem. So Book Riot actually did, go away with your pop-ups, please. Book Riot actually did. This is not, I was looking for like a legit versus list, and now it's not it at all. According to the summary of Book Riot, Storygraph is a great alternative to Goodreads, less cluttered, intuitive, data-driven, and ready to help you find your next favorite book. Also updated much more regularly, so new features are rolling out all the time. Now that last sentence, absolutely 3,000% yes. Amazon is not going to put any more money into Goodreads. They're not. Unless it really breaks, they're not going to do it. They haven't put any money into it really since they bought it. Amazon makes their money on data. They're not making it on books. They're not making it on products. They're not making it on warehousing products. I mean, yes, they are making it on warehousing products, but I promise you all of their money, the majority of their money comes from data, whether that's Amazon Web Services, whether that comes from owning things like Goodreads and whatever else. That's where their money comes from. Now, I really want to take an actual look. There we go. Storygraph. I want to actually like look. Okay, so Storygraph actually has like graphs. If you are a graphs person, like I enjoy data. I love analyzing data. Don't ask me what to do with that data once I'm done looking at it, but I enjoy data. If you also enjoy data and graphs and charts of all kinds to break down your reading, then Storygraph is absolutely the way for you to go. Holy shit. Like I just pulled up the storygraph.com and like I'm looking at line graphs, pie charts, bar graphs. Okay, maybe I will actually give the Storygraph a chance just to see if it's something I like. You know what? I'm going to do that. As of this episode, I am going to download the Storygraph and create an account and see, if it's something that I personally would continue to use. Yeah, I'm going to do that, and I will do it. I'll keep you guys updated on if this is an app that I really enjoy or not. If I find it intuitive, simple, things like that. Beanstack is super simple. You can, if it's not there, you can add it, and just, what I mean by add it is you're not going to be able to give it a title or anything like that, or an ISBN, like put in the ISBN if it's not already in the library system, like if it's a KU book. But you can still track that in Beanstack and then still have it count towards your challenges. So yeah, I'm making myself notes over here in my handy dandy podcast notebook to download Storygraph so I can give it a test run, especially now that it's established a little more. And I mean, the website makes it look pretty nifty, and I'm very intrigued by all of these graphs and all of this data. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at here. I'm just a big fan of tracking because, sometimes, at least for me, it's like, I want to go back and see, what year did I first read this book? What year did I first shelve this book? Like, and here's why. Like, I've got one book that, what year is it? 2023. And I've been trying to read it for probably 4 or 5 years now, which is actually probably longer. That might be 6. Fucking insane, right? Who says they're trying to read a book for this long? So first of all, it's a mass market paperback, and those things hurt my hands. So I'm already like gun shy about picking it back up. Second, I have so much respect for the author who wrote this book. I love this man. I think he's a great human being. His stories are fucking amazing. And this book specifically, the further into it I got, and I didn't get very far. And I had to tell him at one point, I said, your writing just gets more and more intimidating. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I don't know, just something about it is kind of intimidating. And it's not like I'm competing with this guy. We're not in the same genre. We're not on the same level. We don't have the same publishing house, like none of that shit. But his writing to me is just intimidating to read. So I had to kind of put it down, and remembering how that felt, plus the physical sensations and mass market paperback, I'm like, but I do need to pick it back up and finish it. And then there's so many more books in that series that I'm missing that I need to pick up. So that's probably another reason why I haven't finished reading that book, because I think I'm missing like 8 or 9 books in the series still. And he's still releasing books in this series because we all love Drizzt Do'Urden. So now I am talking about the one and only R.A. Salvatore. Love that man. He's such good people. Him and his wife are amazing. So yeah. So, excuse the rambling that went on for a little over 30 minutes now. If you like this episode and you want to hear more book talk, again, whether that's about my book, or about, my books, being a reader, being an author, whatever, somebody who would like it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, please. Not only are you helping me increase my subscriber count and potentially do other fun things with this podcast, you are helping you and your friends get notifications every time one of these podcast episodes is released. You can do that on YouTube, Spotify, or you can head over to bookslifeandshenanigans.substack.com and get it direct in your inbox. I've also set up a Ko-fi account. If you don't want to subscribe as a paid subscriber and get all the fun paid subscriber perks, like special episodes that are subscriber only, and then if you join as a founding member, you get some swag too. But yeah, if you don't want to do that, I will link to my Ko-fi page if you want to just kind of like buy me a coffee. So onto the life section here. Unprocessed emotions. So my divorce finalized, like I said earlier in the episode, and then I worked for a day, and then I went to Tennessee for a few days. During those few days, I really did not process, like at all. I did not process. I talked about it. I thought about it. I did start to sort of kind of feel things, and then I immediately put the lid on those because I didn't feel like it was okay for me to be processing, right? Like I was supposed to be spending time with friends I haven't seen in a few years and just having a good time. So that kind of, I don't recommend doing that. I really don't. Like if you're in a position where that's something that you have to do, then do it. Now, had I told my friends that I was spending time with that was how I felt, they'd have been like, no. And I'd have been like, no, really, this is how it probably needs to be. Because, I haven't seen you guys in so long and this is just kind of where I need to be. Now, do I think I'm going to go back to Tennessee anytime soon? I don't know. It wasn't until I got in the car and got on the road. Like my last road trip was with him, and, road trips with him were fucking brutal. There's no other way to say it. Like they were absolutely fucking brutal savagery. And I don't know how I never ripped his throat out with my fucking teeth, to be completely honest. The level of shit that would be slung at me while driving, while in a hotel room, while staying with friends, it didn't matter. So I'm going to need to start taking some more road trips alone. Even if it's just, a couple hours, just drive for 10 hours, take a nap and come back. Because I enjoy taking road trips. I really, really do. So I need to kind of figure things out and what my life is now that I don't hear that actual voice anymore. I don't hear that actual abuse. I don't hear that actual, manipulation and gaslighting anymore. It's not physically here anymore. So I need to do the things I need to do for me so that I can get back to being happy me and whole me and go fuck yourself me. So these unprocessed emotions really didn't start. They started a little bit like the day before my surgery. And then I had the surgery and, I was all jacked up on anesthesia for a day and a half. And then today I took the photo that I had of him and I for the longest, actual printed photo, because we had gone out one night and, we just had a good time at an arcade and they had a photo booth. So we took some pictures. I burned that photo today. And that for me is the catalyst for being able to feel things and process the closing of this chapter, right? Excuse me. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this episode without crying, but that's not going to happen. So burning that photo is the catalyst for me. That is me saying, you have the permission that you clearly need to give yourself to start feeling this, to start processing it, to unfortunately ride that emotional roller coaster again. Because let me tell you something, that emotional roller coaster I was on earlier this year was fucking terrible. And I knew I was going to get back on it. I knew I was going to have to. I didn't want to. I still don't want to. But you cannot process your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts by avoiding them. It doesn't work. Whether that means you have to journal, leave yourself audio notes, any way you can to just kind of get it out that is not hurtful to you or anyone else. You need to. And that's part of why I do, that the healing program with Dr. Ramani, because it's increased my understanding of narcissistic abuse and what it's like to be a survivor of narcissism. And unfortunately, there's too many people out there that think, oh, you think everyone's a narcissist. Well, you know what? That's unfortunately the way it goes. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. This is a combination of a side effect of, living through this, suffering through this, and coming out the other side of it. But now I'm always looking for red flags. And that's how it's going to be for a really long time, if not forever. I'm always going to be looking for red flags. And I'm always going to be catching myself going, are they really a narcissist, or is this me being overly paranoid? Maybe it won't be so frequent. I really hope it actually just fucking goes away at some point in time because I'll trust myself enough. But right now I'm just not there. So processing those unprocessed emotions. For me, it starts with some kind of, I guess, extreme catalyst. And that extreme catalyst today was burning that photo. That I think that for myself was essentially, hey, this is real. It happened. The legalities of it are over. You're safe. You're okay. Go ahead and just let it out. Right. So that's what I did. And then, I kind of stopped crying a little bit and I went and laid on the couch because I need to stop fucking moving. And that's, the distractions for me are just going to keep coming. Cause there's always going to be something, right? I can't just sit here and wallow in it all day. I have a life to live. I have a job to do. Quite literally, I have a day job. I've got the books to produce. I've got things that have to fucking be done, right? I have to keep a roof over my head. My cat had to go to the vet today. Now, did she actually go in the carrier? No. And that's probably my fault because I went to get my toes done and I was really late, but the vet gave her meds. So now I have to give, we got the prescription. So now I can give her antibiotics twice a day, but I have things to do, even something as, as menial as shoving a pill down my cat's throat, brushing my teeth when I get out of bed in the morning. I have things I have to do. And these little things are going to fucking pull me from that processing. And, journaling is a good way to kind of see where you left off. Same thing with audio notes. It's a really good way to see where you left off. Right. And then you're like, for me, it's a lot like writing a book. I go back and see, okay, so this is where I left off. Am I still in this place or am I ready to just kind of move on to the next, whatever? Do I want to, pick up that scene as it were? Or do I want to go on with, these 10 things that won't get the fuck out of my head now? Usually I'm going to go on with these 10 things that won't get the fuck out of my head now. As something that won't get the fuck out of my head right now, Plastic Heart by Fame on Fire. It's been fucking repeat in my head for the past 3 hours. So I will probably go listen to that when I'm done recording this episode. But journaling and taking audio notes are, I think, at least for me, some super helpful ways. I don't like the way my voice sounds, but when I would listen back to the audio notes that I would take in the very beginning, a year ago, the first time I kicked them out and thought this was over. Okay, I was naive enough to think it was over. Actually, no, I thought it was over. And then I was naive enough to try to convince myself that I was being a nice person and thinking we could be friends and hang out and watch a show that had come back that we both really liked. And well, I was just being stupid. Not stupid. I was being hopeful. But as most of us who have been involved with a narcissist in one way, shape or form, romantically, work-wise, parental, whatever, we get trapped by hope, right? We hope things are going to change. And that's not exactly. We have to accept that they're not going to change. And until we accept that they're not going to change, we are not going to leave. We are not going to get ourselves out of that situation. And the strength to get out of that situation is it's a long time coming. It takes a long time to build that up. It really does. It took me about a year, to finally get the strength up to say I was fucking done dealing with it. And some people would say that's a lot less time than it took me. And some people would say, holy shit, that's a lot more time than it took me. But, everybody's different. As the saying goes, your mileage may vary. Everybody processes things differently. So when I would go back and listen to, my audio notes, I would kind of cringe. Same thing I do when I listen back to my podcast episodes, I kind of cringe. But also, for me, it's like a stream of consciousness thing. with journaling or audio notes. And for me, because my brain moves faster than my hands or my mouth or my hands do, audio notes were better for me, because I would get so tripped up on if my writing was legible, I would forget where I was going with it. That's just me. And again, I think that might just be a side effect of the trauma, where it's like that weird perfectionism thing, because that was what was expected of me for so long with him, that now I'm starting to expect it from myself, even though I already kind of was a little bit of a perfectionist, but not to this extent. It's actually gotten pretty fucking annoying. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself. I know you have things to do. I know you have things you need to do. I know you have things you want to do. Do this for yourself, okay? Once a week, maybe. Block out some time and say, for this hour or this 20 minutes even, I am going to sit with myself and my feelings, and I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to think about anything else. I'm just going to process my trauma. Or I'm just, I'm going to do what I have to do to process that. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to, leave myself an audio note. I'm going to journal. Whatever it is you have to do, even if it's just once a week, 20 minutes, like I said. The more you get used to this, the more the more you do it, the more you're going to get used to kind of shutting everything else out for that time. I understand, middle of the day, you're working, you're on the phone with a customer says something, and that triggers you. You can't break down right then and there, right? Because you have a job you have to finish on this phone call. And then you have another call after that and another call after that. Ask me how I know this. I'm talking about from personal experience here. It just kind of, it offsets your whole day, and you feel broken the whole day, like even more so. And you're very irritable because you can't process it. You can't, do what you need to do because there's so much pressure on you from your job, from the outside. And we're not even talking about the pressures that you put on yourself. So to take this time for yourself, is very important. If you can get away with it in the middle of the day, then by all means do it. If you have to wait until the end of the day when the kids are asleep, or, go lock yourself in the bathroom and act like you're taking a bath, just so the kids leave you alone, then by all means fucking do it. Whatever you can to just get some time to yourself. And like I said, even if it is only 20 minutes, I'm not comfortable saying anything less than that, because at least for me, usually less than that is probably a bad idea, because then I start to get into like a groove. And then as soon as I cut that groove off, I wind up real irritated real quick, like fucking demonic. And, for me, that's not a good thing. But if you can get away with, 10-minute increments here and there, then do it. But pay attention, be mindful to how you're feeling once you cut that off. You may need to sit with yourself and your thoughts a little bit longer. Or, some days it can vary from day to day. It can vary from week to week. Okay, today I only need, a couple minutes. Tomorrow I might need a little bit more. Tomorrow I might need a little bit less. Just be mindful of how you're feeling once you're done. I encourage you to maybe track that too, right? Even if habit trackers, I'm a big fan of habit trackers. Yes, I use one of those too on top of a reading tracker. I was tracking working out, but I can't work out for another fucking month now. So I'm not real happy about that. But I track my words. I track, my podcast episodes. There's so many things I track with this habit tracker. I track my healing program. What I do, when I do it, how many times a month I do it. I have a whole ass planner for it. I'm not even kidding. But for me, that's what helps me. For you, it might be different. You might just use like a regular legal pad and, okay, today I feel this. And this is what I'm tracking. It's really up to you. I'm just hyper organized to a point of disorganization, I think. And then I also have organized chaos. But I think that's where we're going to leave it for this week. The catalyst to processing, as long as you are not harming yourself or anyone else, I encourage you to do that. I mean, I didn't hurt anyone else or myself by burning a photo. Given the generation I grew up in, burning photos was like the first thing we always did when it came to trying to heal and get over someone or something. So, you're welcome for that, by the way. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. If you found this episode helpful, if you liked it, if you want to share it, go ahead, hit that share button, hit the like button, subscribe. And if you have anything, you want to hear my take on, or you want to hear me go off about, I will include Star Wars, maybe. Though I do think if I'm going to go off about Star Wars, that should probably be a paid subscriber thing, or just maybe something kind of one-off from the podcast. Because I do not read the Star Wars books. I have not yet. I'm sorry, Tim Zahn. I'm sorry. I'm getting to it. I promise you. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. Any feedback, comments, suggestions, drop them below where you can, or send them via email, amanda@amandabird.net. Thanks for hanging with me this week. Hanging with me this week. Hanging with me this week. Hanging with me this week.
This has been the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with Amanda Bird. Song credit, audionautics.com. Intro action, AUDIONAUTIX.com. And if you'd like to support this podcast, head over to substack.com/@Books, Life, and Shenanigans.